are lots of things all around us, exciting things that surround us.
But how does it work?
Do you know?
How is it made?
Do you know? Things that go up, things that go down, things that go pop, things that go round, with special cameras to show you inside. It's going to be a big surprise.
But how does it work?
Do you know?
How is it made?
Do you know? Do you know?
Let's find out!
Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I'm looking in the garden for two cats. Have you seen them anywhere? They're not under the tree, and they're not on their favourite spot, on the fence. I know how we can find them. I wonder if they're hungry. Cats make great pets, don't they? The cats like to be outside in the garden, hiding and exploring. But there is something else they like. Lunch. What's this? Ready? Steady, Paul? What's that? This is Madison. And this is Malika. And there's something really clever that means the cats can come in and out of the house whenever they like. Do you know what it is? That's right, it's a cat flap. It's like a little door just for cats. But do you know how a cat flap works? Let's find out.
How does it work?
A cat flap.
To show you how a cat flap works, let's see if we can get Madison and Malika to use it. They like to sneak in and out throughout the day, so I'm going to set up two special cameras. One on the inside and one outside. They like to come out to play after they've had their lunch. Watch what happens.
Our cameras are all set up. Oh look, here's Madison. Is she going to get through? Yes, she's in.
Whoa, that was fast, wasn't it? I tell you what, let's watch it again, this time in slow motion.
Watch how Madison pushes it open with her nose.
Did you hear the sound that the cat flap made when the door opened and closed? Listen again. It sounds like a click, doesn't it? The cat flap opens like that for Madison and Malika, but look what happens if I try to open it. Does it work? No. Why do you think that is? That's because this cat flap will only work for Madison and Malika. But how does the cat flap know who they are? It's because of this. It's called a microchip, and this, a sensor on the cat flap.
Let's see how it works. Both Madison and Malika had a microchip put underneath their fur by the vet. It didn't hurt them, and it's very small, so they can't feel it at all. Their microchips have the same special number on them. This number is also on the sensor inside the cat flap, so they match. When one of the cats goes up to their cat flap, the sensor inside scans the microchip by their neck, just like how we scan our shopping at the supermarket checkout. When it sees there is a match, a small lock inside the cat flap is unlocked. So when they push the flap with their head, the flap swings open to let them through. The same happens when they want to come home. But the cat flap only opens for Madison and Malika. If any other cats come along, they can't get in because they don't have the same matching number.
The microchip is tiny. It's only a bit bigger than a grain of rice. In fact, it's so small, I've got a special camera with me, a microscope, which will let us see it in close up. Oh, look at that. Isn't it incredible that something so tiny can open and close a cat flap?
To show you what the microchip looks like inside a cat, I have a special photo called an X-ray.
An X-ray is a special picture that lets us see what we look like under our skin. And this is an X-ray of a cat. Look, you can see under the cat's skin. Look at all of its bones. And can you see that white blob there? That is the microchip. It's tiny, isn't it?
Madison and Malika love their cat flap. They're in and out all day.
What was your favourite bit about seeing how a cat flap worked?
Do you remember what you call the special device that goes under Madison and Malika's fur and lets them in the cat flap? That's right, it's a microchip. Did you hear the sound the cat flap made when it opened? And did you see the X-ray showing the microchip in the cat's body?
So next time you see a cat use a cat flap, you'll know just how it works. Ah, her fur is so lovely and soft. The fur helps keep the cat warm when it's outside, but we don't have fur, do we? So how do we stay warm? I like to wear a woolly hat. But do you know where wool comes from? How is a woolly hat made? Let's find out.
How is it made?
A woolly hat.
Your woolly hat starts off in a place like this, a sheep farm. And that's because the wool that makes your woolly hat actually comes from a sheep's coat. And there are a lot of sheep here. There we go. This is Lewis, and he's going to show us how you get wool from a sheep. The first thing Lewis does is to clip the woolly coat off the sheep, and to do that, he uses this. It's called a shear, to do something called shearing.
The sheep are sheared one by one. The sheep is held very still and Lewis snips away quickly so that all the woolly coat is cut off.
A shear is a bit like a pair of scissors. Can you see? Lewis is using it to cut the wool off the sheep, but it doesn't hurt the sheep at all. It's just like having a haircut. Can you hear the sound of the shears? What does it sound like? I think it sounds just like a small engine. And this is what we're left with. The wool that comes off the sheep is called a fleece. The sheep will grow a new woolly coat, just like how you grow your hair back after you've had a haircut. But this fleece doesn't look much like a woolly hat, does it?
To find out what happens next, I have to go somewhere else.
This is a mill where they make all sorts of things from wool. I brought a fleece with me, so let's go and see what happens next.
When the fleeces arrive at the mill, they are weighed and then sorted.
Sue here is going through and sorting each fleece by hand. She's picking out any mucky bits that got onto the sheep whilst he was in the field. This fleece here has a bit of blue spray paint on it. That's from where the farmer has sprayed a number onto the sheep so he didn't lose it in the field.
The wool is washed, rinsed, and then the water is squeezed out by rollers. The wool is now clean. It just needs to be dried out in a tumble dryer. You might have one at home, but this is a lot bigger.
After the fleece has had a really good wash, it's put into this machine. It's called a Fear Naught machine, and I think it looks a bit like a green dinosaur with big teeth.
The teeth pull apart the fleece to get rid of any knots, a bit like when you brush your hair. On the next machine, the wool is fed through huge rollers, which are covered in smaller teeth.
The teeth brush out the wool and also make sure that any last bits of hay or seeds from the field can be taken out. But everything's happening so fast. Let's use my special slow motion camera to slow everything down and get a better look.
Look at the teeth brushing out the wool. Isn't it clever?
This is what the wool looks like when it comes off the rollers. These are called slubbings, which is my new favourite word. It's beginning to look like the wool you might make a hat with, but it's not ready yet because it breaks too easily. It's not strong enough. So first, it has to be spun.
The wool is added to this big spinning frame, and as each piece is pulled out, it's twisted round and round.
And at the other end, we get this. It's called yarn.
The yarn is quite thin. To give it extra strength and make it thicker, 4 strands are twisted together.
When the wool comes off the twisting machine, it looks like this. You can see how much stronger and thicker it is. This is called plied yarn, and it's what people used to knit with. Things like jumpers, scarves, or woolly hats. But not everything we wear is the same colour as a sheep. So what we need is a bit of colour. This is the part of the factory where the yarn can be turned into lots of different colours. And this stage is called dyeing.
Blue liquid called dye is added to hot water to make it blue.
Now the yarn is being dipped into the blue water where it's going to stay for 3 whole hours.
Three hours later, the wool is ready to come out.
And when it's finished, it looks like that. What an amazing blue colour. Here is lots of wool that has already been turned into different colours and rolled into small balls. Now, I think it's time to make a woolly hat. But do you know what colour hat I usually wear? That's right, a red hat. So, we need some red wool. Paula is making me a woolly hat, and she's doing something called knitting. You might know someone who knits, and it's very clever. And Paula's very fast at it. Here we are, a brand new, bright red woolly hat. How do I look? What did you like most about seeing how a woolly hat was made?
Do you remember what you call the wool when it's been taken off the sheep? That's right, it's called a fleece. Did you hear the sound of the sheep being sheared? And did you see the teeth brush out the wool on my slow motion camera?
So the next time you wear a hat, scarf or woolly jumper, remember that it was made from yarn that came from a sheep's woolly coat. Thank you, sheep. See you next time. Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I've come to the supermarket to do some shopping. There are so many things to choose from. What shall we have for lunch today? We need bread to make sandwiches. What do you like in your sandwiches? I like cheese and tomatoes.
And how about some bananas too?
At the checkout assistant scans all of the items. Oh, there they go. Beep. But how does the checkout know what the items are and how much they cost? Well, it's to do with something that's printed on the item. It's got these black and white stripes. Do you know what it is? It's called a barcode. But
how does a barcode work? Let's find out.
How does it work?
Barcode.
All over the world, 5 billion barcodes are scanned every single day. And in this supermarket, there are thousands and thousands of barcodes. Look, there's one here. And look, another one here.
In fact, almost every item in a supermarket has a barcode printed on it.
Can you see, if you look closely, the barcode is made up of lots of thin black lines. It makes a pattern of black and white stripes that look a little bit like a zebra. And then if you look underneath the lines, there are lots of numbers.
This is called the barcode number. Every type of product in the supermarket has a different barcode with a different number. These packs of bananas have the same barcode because they're the same product. When we go to pay for our shopping, all the barcodes can be scanned at the checkout.
The checkout has a computer inside, and underneath this glass panel, there's a machine called a scanner that looks and reads the barcodes. The items come down the conveyor belt, and Roberta will pass the barcode over the scanner. And that's my favourite part. Did you hear it? It went beep. But how does the scanner read the barcode? And how does the computer tell us what the item is and how much it costs? I think we need to take a closer look.
When the barcode is passed over the scanner, it shines a red LED light onto the barcode. The LED light reflects back off the barcode and into a sensor. The sensor makes a pattern of electrical pulses to match the pattern of the barcode stripes. Inside the scanner, the pulses are changed into numbers. 0 for the white stripes and 1 for the black stripes. This is called a digital signal. The digital signal is changed into a 13-number barcode, which is sent to a computer. The computer has thousands of barcode numbers stored in its memory, and each number matches an item. When the computer matches the barcode number with the correct number in its memory, it tells us what the item is and how much it costs.
Wasn't that brilliant? But did you know that the barcodes also help the supermarkets keep all of the shelves stacked with all the right things at the right time? Let's find out how. I really want 4 cans of this soup, but there's only 1 can left. Now, the supermarket might have some more soup that they could put on the shelf for me to buy, but how do we know? Well, we can use the barcode. The shop assistants can scan the barcodes using an app on their mobile phones called a barcode reader.
This sends a message to the supermarket computer to check if there are any more cans of soup left.
And it says that yes, there are more in the warehouse that's just behind the shop. Let's go see if we can find it. This is the warehouse where all of the items that are waiting to go on the shelves are kept. Ah, here we are. These look like our cans of soup, but I'm going to check. Yep, they're the same ones. I'm going to put my special camera on this cage so we can follow the soup cans into the supermarket where they'll get put on the right shelf.
Here we go.
And now I can take my 4 cans of soup to the checkout. Where the barcodes are scanned.
The computer can then tell us what the items are and how much they cost.
All I have to do now is pay for all my shopping. I loved seeing how a barcode works. What was your favourite bit?
Do you remember the name of the app that scanned the barcode on the can of soup? That's right, it's called a barcode reader. Did you hear the sound the computer made when it scanned the barcode? And did you see how the cans travelled from the warehouse to the shelf on my special camera? Now that we've scanned the barcodes and paid for our shopping, it's time to put it all in a bag. Ooh, what shall we have for tea tonight? I've got some frozen peas, some carrots, and fish cakes. I love fish cakes. Do you like fish cakes? Fish cakes aren't like the cakes you have for pudding or for a treat, are they? No, fish cakes are made from fish and potatoes, and sometimes they have vegetables in them too. But do you know how fish cakes are made? Let's find out. How is it made?
Fish cakes.
To make fish cakes, we need fish, and that all starts here at a port. Every day, lots of fishing boats come into this port with their catch of fish. But where do they go from here? They're brought here.
To a fish filleting factory. And all along this line are where the fish are sorted and cleaned. There are lots of different types of fish, like this pink fish here. It's called salmon. But for our fish cakes today, we're using this type of fish. It's called a cod. Isn't it huge? This is Simon, and it's his job to prepare the fish. He uses a knife to very carefully take the meat off the bones of a whole fish, and we call this filleting. Next, Simon cuts the cod into chunks. But to turn this into fish cakes, we're going to need some more ingredients.
First, we need potatoes. They've already been peeled and sliced, and now they're put onto a conveyor.
At the top, the potatoes are dropped into this steaming silver tube, and inside, the potatoes are cooked. For our fish cakes, we need mashed potatoes. And you might have had mashed potatoes at home or even used a potato masher. But to mash lots and lots of potatoes, we need something much bigger than this.
So here, there's a giant potato masher with a rotating blade inside that chops and mashes the cooked potatoes.
The fresh mashed potato is then sucked along this tube, where it's then spread out onto a tray. Ooh, here it comes. That is perfect mashed potato, not a lump in sight. Wow, this is the really exciting bit, where all of the ingredients are mixed together. And first, the fish is lifted and tipped into this huge tank. Look at all of the fish tumbling around. Now, after a little bit of mixing, the other ingredients are added. In goes the mashed potato.
Then dried potato flakes, salt, and a green herb called parsley are added.
The mixing machine has two blades that turn around, and these mix all of the ingredients together. The finished fish cake mixture is tipped into this huge funnel, and I'm going to see if I can watch this on my special camera.
The mixture is fed through pipes and measured out into dollops.
And there they are.
Each one enough for one fish cake. And the dollops are pressed into fish cake shapes.
There's just one last thing our fish cakes need, and that is a coating. So first, they're dusted in a layer of flour, and then they're drizzled with butter.
Butter is a sticky mixture that helps to glue on the final coating, breadcrumbs.
This is my special slow motion camera and it lets me see things slowed right down. So let's take a look at the breadcrumbs.
Whoa! It's like having a breadcrumb shower. Next, the fish cakes are dipped in very hot oil to make the coating nice and crispy, before being frozen in a very cold freezer. That means we can store the fish cakes for longer.
And here they come out the other side, frozen solid. Can you hear the sound as they rattle down their little slide? How brilliant is that?
For the final stage, the frozen fish cakes travel along this conveyor, where they're put into little plastic packets and sealed to keep them fresh.
And here we have a finished pack of fish cakes. They're all being boxed up so they can be sent to shops, ready for us to buy and cook at home. I love fish cakes. What was your favourite bit about seeing how frozen fish cakes are made?
Do you remember what fish was used in the fish cake? That's right, it was cod. Did you hear the sound of the frozen fish cakes rattling down the slide?
How brilliant is that?
And did you see the breadcrumbs pouring onto the fish cakes on my special camera? It looked like a shower.
So the next time you have fish cakes for tea or you see some at a supermarket, you'll know how they're made. And now you know how barcodes work to make buying things quicker and easier. Right, I'm off home to go and cook dinner. I'm having fish cakes tonight. I'll see you next time.
And today, I'm at a hospital. Have you ever been to a hospital?
You might have been to a hospital to visit someone who's poorly, they might have had an accident, or perhaps you've been poorly yourself. The doctors and nurses have lots of different ways to help people when they feel poorly or hurt. And sometimes they use clever machines to help them. They can look in your ears with one of these. It's called an otoscope. Looking good, Ted? And if they want to listen to your heartbeat or your breathing, they can use one of these. It's called a stethoscope. Just like that. But if we needed to look inside your body, we'd need to use a very special machine. And it's in here.
I've been given special permission to have a look.
This is an X-ray machine. And it can take pictures inside your body like this one.
These are the bones inside somebody's leg and foot.
How incredible is that? But do you know how an X-ray machine works to take pictures inside our bodies? Let's find out.
How does it work?
X-ray.
Inside our bodies, there are lots and lots of bones. A grown-up has 206 of them. This is what it looks like when all those bones are together.
We each have one inside us, and it's called our skeleton.
Skeletons look really funny, don't they? But skeletons have a very important job. They help to shape our bodies so that we can move around, and they help move parts of our bodies, like our arms, our legs, and even our heads. Our bones are really strong and they help us to stand up straight, and they protect the soft parts of our body. But sometimes if we fall over or have an accident, a doctor will need to check if we've broken a bone. And for that, they might need to take an X-ray. An X-ray machine is a special type of camera that takes pictures that will show us bones underneath our skin. And this is Sarah. Hi, Maddie. She's a radiographer, and that means she's in charge of the X-ray machine here at the hospital. This machine sends out special rays of light called X-rays that travel from the machine right through your body and onto one of these. It's called a cassette.
Having an X-ray doesn't hurt. We can't feel the X-rays when they pass through our body.
And this is what an X-ray image looks like. Do you know what part of the body that is? Did you guess right? It's an arm.
And there are 3 bones in the arm: the humerus, the radius, and the ulna.
So this part is the elbow. But how does an X-ray machine work to send out those X-rays and make a picture of our bones? To find out, I think we need to take a closer look.
When we have an X-ray, the machine makes a beam of X-ray light. X-rays are a type of light we can't see, and they're measured in wavelengths. The wavelengths travel through the air until they reach our body. X-rays are special because they can pass through our skin and muscles, but they don't pass through our bones. The X-rays are collected on the flat panel detector and sent to a computer so the radiographer can see the bones inside. The X-rays that pass through our body show as black areas, and the X-rays that didn't go through the bones show as a white shadow.
Wasn't that interesting? And we're going to get to see it in action for ourselves. This is James, and a week ago he broke his wrist. But today he's getting an X-ray to find out if his bones are in the right place so they can heal properly.
First, Sarah moves the cassette and X-ray machine into the right position. Can you see that red beam of light? That tells Sarah where the picture is going to be taken.
Only the person having the X-ray can stay in the room, so Sarah and I are just keeping behind this panel.
When Sarah presses this button, the X-rays travel from the machine through James's arm and down onto the cassette underneath. Then Sarah carefully picks up the cassette that has saved the X-ray image of James's arm and puts it into this machine, which can show us the X-ray on the screen.
And here we have an X-ray of James's wrist.
James's broken bone is starting to heal, but he'll need to carry on wearing his plaster cast for another 5 weeks.
How incredible is that? Finding out how X-rays work was really interesting, wasn't it? What was your favourite bit? What about yours?
Can you remember what we call the machine that saves the X-ray information? That's right, it's called a cassette. Did you hear the sound that the X-ray machine made when Sarah pressed the button? And did you see the way bones show up as a white shadow on the X-ray image?
Learning about the inside of our bodies with an X-ray machine was really interesting, wasn't it? But what about the outside of our bodies? There are lots of things we put on the outside of our bodies to protect them.
Hats keep our head warm. Gloves keep our fingers toasty.
What about our feet? What do we put on our feet to keep those warm? That's right, socks! But do you know how socks are made? Let's find out.
How is it made?
Socks.
To find out how socks are made, I've come here to a sock factory.
They make 1.5 million socks here every single year.
That's enough socks to stretch all the way from London to Edinburgh.
And they make them in all sorts of different colours and patterns.
They have blue socks, pink spotty socks, stripy socks,
And even socks with flowers on them. Which one's your favourite? Sock making starts here on a computer. This is Chloe, and Chloe is a designer, and it's her job to think of the different colours and patterns that will be made into socks. Socks are made from yarn, and all of the yarn is stored in here, the yarn store. Yarn is kept on reels like this called bobbins, and they have every colour you can imagine.
Most of the yarn here is made from wool, which comes from sheep, or cotton, which comes from plants. This machine is automated, and that means it works all by itself. And that part is where all of the threads are knitted together. And the bobbins are put at the top of the machine. There are 176 needles that work together at the same time, knitting round and round, building the sock up like a tube. They work so quickly, they can make a pair of socks in just 9 minutes.
On this type of knitting machine, the sock travels up a tube as it's being knitted. And when it's finished, it drops out the tube.
Here comes another one.
That made a fun flop sound, didn't it? But this sock is missing something. It's the right tube shape. But look! Oh dear, that's not going to keep my toes warm, is it? Don't worry, the toes get sewn up.
And they do that here, in the linking room.
Vicky puts the end of the sock onto a toe closing machine, and it's held in place by little pins called teeth.
Look, now the sock is on the machine, it trims the top of it off. And can you see the needle? That's what's sewing the sock together.
That's better. Now my toes won't poke out the end. But all the socks are inside out. Ta-da! That looks so much better, doesn't it? But because they have so many socks here, they use a machine to turn them all the right way out. And I've been given special permission to have a go. This is a sock turning machine. And this part of it is a little bit like a vacuum cleaner. All I have to do is pull the inside out sock over the end, and then it will suck the sock the right way round and then spit it out the other side. Ready? Just like that. Let's have another go. Inside out sock, over the nozzle, let go. This is not so fun, but it happens so quickly. I think we should film this with one of my special cameras. This camera films in slow motion, which means we can film something that happens really fast and watch it back much slower. Here goes.
Look, as I let go of the sock, it gets sucked into the tube, turning the sock the right way round, before it drops down through the trapdoor. I think the sock looks like a snake.
That looks brilliant! I'd like a sock turning machine at home, would you?
But the socks aren't ready yet. They need to be cleaned inside this giant washing machine.
It's a bit like a washing machine you might have at home, only this one is 5 times bigger. It's massive.
After the socks have been washed, they need to be dried and ironed.
But they don't iron socks with an iron like this one.
Here they use
Special ironing legs. The socks are put on the metal feet that go round a track into a steam chamber. And inside the chamber, hot steam irons the socks. Look, here come the ironed socks. It's like the grabbers are pulling the socks off the feet, just like we do at the end of the day.
After the grabber has stacked the socks, they're put on a conveyor belt.
And then they go through this machine, which lifts the socks one at a time and then places them back down on another sock to make the perfect pair.
And 2 socks make 1 pair.
And here we have a finished pair of socks. They look great, don't they? I loved finding out how socks are made. What was your favourite bit?
Do you remember what the coloured reels of yarn are called? That's right, bobbins. Did you hear the sound the door made when the sock came out of the tube? And did you see the sock being turned the right way round on my special slow motion camera?
So the next time you put on a pair of socks, you'll know how they were made. And if you see an X-ray picture, you'll know how an X-ray machine works to show us the bones inside our bodies. I'll see you next time.
Hello, I'm Maddie, and today I'm finding out about something we might hear every day. They can be loud, they can be quiet, they can be very big and very small. Sometimes we might not be able to see them at all. Do you know what they are? Speakers. We can find speakers in lots of different places.
Like inside the television, at the train station so we can hear announcements.
And there are speakers in headphones so we can listen to music. But how does sound come out of a speaker? Do you know how speakers work? Let's find out.
How does it work?
Speaker.
To find out how a speaker works, I've come here to a speaker factory.
Look at all these different types of speakers.
I'm going to show you what's inside a speaker. Now, you must never play with or take apart a speaker at home, but I've got special permission to show you what's inside. This is David, and it's one of David's jobs to put the different parts of a speaker together. This part here is called the basket, and it's called a basket because it holds all the other parts of a speaker.
At the bottom of the basket is the permanent magnet, and it makes the speaker vibrate with the help of an electromagnet, which is powered by electricity.
A vibration is like lots of little shakes. If you put your lips together and hum, can you feel that buzzing? That's vibration.
Next, something called the spider is added. This makes sure the parts vibrate in the right direction.
And finally, David will fix this part into the basket. It's called a cone because it's cone-shaped.
But to make sound, all of these speaker parts need to be fitted into a speaker house.
This is a speaker house, and David's fitting a slightly smaller basket with all the different parts into this hole. But how do the magnets and the cones work together to make sound? Come with me. When we listen to music, you shouldn't stand too close to a speaker or listen to music too loudly, as it might hurt our ears. Now, when I press play, the music will start. Do you recognise this song? And when I press stop, the music stops. Do you remember what these two big circles are called? That's right, they're cones. But watch what happens to the cones when I play the music. Here we go. Can you see that the cones are moving? The cones are moving because of vibrations. It's the magnets that make the vibrations, and vibrations make sound waves and the sounds that we can hear. But to find out how the magnets and the cones work together to make vibrations, I think we need to take a closer look.
Sound waves are how sound travels through the air. Inside a speaker are two magnets, the electromagnet and the permanent magnet. When we turn the speaker on, electricity flows through cables and turns the electromagnet on, which pulls and pushes the permanent magnet, making the cone vibrate very quickly. The vibrations move the air in front of the speaker into lots of sound waves. The sound waves bounce off surfaces, and our ears hear these as sound. When we turn the volume down, the cones vibrate less, and the sound waves get smaller. When we turn the volume up, the cone vibrates more, and the sound waves become bigger. And we hear the sound more loudly.
That was really interesting, wasn't it? But I think we should see it in action for ourselves. I'm going to use my special camera.
And this camera can film in slow motion, which lets us see things that happen really quickly, much slower. But sound waves are invisible. We can't see them. So to understand how the vibrating cone makes the air move in front of it, I'm going to use some green rice. Remember, you mustn't try this on a speaker at home, but I've got special permission so I can show you how the speaker works. When I turn the music on, the magnets will make the cone vibrate, which makes sound waves. So let's see what happens. Look, the vibrations are moving the cone, which makes the rice jiggle around. It's like the rice is dancing to the music. And when I turn the speaker up, the cone vibrates more, but so does the rice. Now there is more air moving away from the speaker, making bigger sound waves, which means the sounds are louder in our ears. That was so much fun. I loved finding out about how a speaker works. What was your favourite part? Can you remember the name of the part that holds the speaker together? That's right, it's called the basket. And did you hear the song I played when I plugged my phone into the speaker? It was the Do You Know theme tune. And did you see the green rice jump around on my special slow motion camera? When I'm at home, I love listening to music on my speakers, and when I switch my disco lights on, I love to dance. I love all the brightly coloured lights. There are lots and lots of colours all around us, but how are there so many colours? Do you know how colour is made? Let's find out. How is it made?
Colour.
To find out how colour is made, I'm going to paint a picture. I've got 3 colours here, red, yellow and blue. What do you think I should paint? I know, let's paint the house. First, let's start with the sky. I'm painting the sky blue. And I think I'll paint the house red. And the windows and door yellow. Ooh, can you hear that? I love the tinkling, swishing sound of my paintbrush in the water glass. Lovely. We call red, yellow and blue primary colours. And we can mix primary colours together to make lots of new colours. Let me show you how. If I put yellow and blue together, look what colour it makes. Green! And if I mix red and blue, wow, look, it's made the colour purple. How about red and yellow? What colour do you think it's going to make? That's right, orange. That's my favourite. We've got 3 new colours made by mixing the primary colours together. Green, purple and orange. We call these secondary colours. And now I've got some green to paint the grass. So that's how you mix colours. But how can you separate them? This is a special type of paper called chromatography paper. And it helps to separate colours that have been mixed together, like the colours in these felt tip pens. I'm going to mark these 3 different colours onto the bottom of my chromatography paper. I'm using orange, green and brown. To separate the colours, we need to put the chromatography paper in water. Like that. The chromatography paper works a bit like a sponge and will soak the water up. I wonder what will happen to the colour from the felt tip pen when water passes through it. It will take over an hour for water to move up the chromatography paper, so I'm going to film it using my special time-lapse camera. This means we can see it happening much quicker when we watch it back. All set. Look, the water is climbing up the paper and mixing with the ink from the felt tip pens. And can you see, as the water gets higher, the colours are starting to separate. And the ink goes up with the water. Look, the orange has separated into yellow and red. The green has separated into yellow and blue. And look at the brown. It's separated into all the primary colours. Red, yellow and blue. How brilliant's that? So, we know we can find lots of different colours inside felt tip pens and paint. But did you know there are also lots of different colours in light? Light outside comes from the sun, and the light from the sun is called white light. But you should never look directly at the sun. But white light is actually made up of lots of colours. Let me show you. To see all the colours that make white light, I'm going to use this. It's called a prism. Light travels in a straight line. But when light travels from the sun and passes through the prism bends the light. And when this happens, the colours that are inside the light separate out. This is called dispersion. But what does dispersion look like? Wow, look at the light coming through the trees. Can you see all the different colours? There's some red and some yellow. Oh, there's some blue and some green. A colour called indigo and another one called violet. These are different shades of the colour purple. Where else do we see these colours? That's right, a rainbow. And we see rainbows when the sun shines and it's raining. The rain works just like my prism. It separates out the colours in the light that comes from the sun. How incredible is that? I loved finding out how colours are made. What was your favourite bit? Can you remember what we call the colours red, blue and yellow? That's right, they're called primary colours. Did you hear the sound my paintbrushes made when they were swishing around in the glass? And did you see the felt tip pen ink separate into different colours on my special time-lapse camera? So the next time you paint a picture, you'll know how to mix primary colours to make new colours. And the next time you're dancing to music, you'll know how the speakers playing the music works. Oh, I think my favourite song's about to start. I'll see you next time.